Imagine this. You walk into a crowded room. Music is loud, voices are overlapping, people are laughing, hugging, moving in every direction. The air is buzzing with energy. Some individuals thrive in this setting. They light up. They walk from group to group, striking up conversations with strangers, their energy rising with every interaction. Others, they hesitate. They scan the room, looking for a familiar face, or maybe a quiet corner. Maybe they pretend to check their phone, a small shield against the flood of noise and attention. So, where do you fall? Are you the life of the party, or the one silently wishing you were already home? For most of us, this question isn't new. We've probably labeled ourselves long ago. I'm an introvert. I'm definitely an extrovert. Maybe someone else labeled you first. A parent, a teacher, a personality quiz. And so you accepted it, carried it with you, built your self-image around it. But what if I told you the labels aren't quite right? What if introvert and extrovert are not fixed categories but moving parts? What if you're not just one thing, but something in between? In fact, according to one of the greatest minds in psychology, Carl Jung, that might be exactly the case. Jung believed that personality isn't a box you're placed in, but a living, shifting spectrum of energy. And more importantly, he believed that no one is 100% introvert or 100% extrovert. So if you've ever felt like you enjoy social interaction, but need time alone afterward, or if you love solitude but still seek connection, you're not confused. You're human. And in this video, we're going to explore why your personality might be far more dynamic than you ever realized. Let's dive into Carl Jung's powerful theory and uncover the truth about who you really are. When most people think of the terms introvert or extrovert, they imagine social habits. Introverts, shy, quiet, bookish. Extroverts, outgoing, talkative, energetic. Simple, right? Not quite. In the early 20th century, a Swiss psychiatrist named Carl Jung introduced a much deeper understanding of what these terms actually mean, and it had nothing to do with shyness or confidence. Jung proposed that introversion and extroversion are not about how you behave, but about how you use your mental energy. According to Jung, each person naturally orients their psychological energy either inward or outward. Introverts direct their attention to their inner world. Thoughts, emotions, reflections. They find meaning in solitude, in quiet analysis, in depth. They are not antisocial. They simply draw power from within. Extroverts, on the other hand, channel their energy outward, toward people, events, and external stimulation. They are energized by activity, by conversation, by the thrill of engaging with the world around them. So it's not a matter of liking people or not. It's a matter of where you feel most alive, most yourself. Jung was clear. Introversion and extroversion are psychological orientations, not personality judgments. And here's the part most people forget. Jung never believed people were purely one or the other. He saw these two tendencies, inward and outward, as natural poles that exist within all of us. Think of them as two psychological currents. Sometimes one is more dominant, but the other is always present, even if it's subtle. You might recharge alone but still love to perform on stage. You might thrive in conversation but need an hour of silence to recover. Jung's view wasn't about boxes or labels. It was about balance. He believed the healthiest individuals weren't those who lived on one extreme, but those who learned to navigate both. And in that sense, introversion and extroversion aren't static traits. They're tools. And once you understand how they work inside of you, you gain a deeper, clearer map of your own mind. In the next section, we'll explore why most people don't fully identify with just one type, and how that realization changes everything we thought we knew about personality. We love simple answers. I'm an introvert. She's an extrovert. Labels make things feel neat, defined, and easy to understand. But when it comes to personality, simplicity can be misleading. Carl Jung never saw introversion and extroversion as fixed boxes. He saw them as two ends of a spectrum, a dynamic range of psychological energy, with most people falling somewhere in between. Let's pause and imagine that spectrum for a moment. On one end, extreme introversion. People who avoid social interaction entirely, who find deep solitude not only comfortable, but necessary. On the opposite end, extreme extroversion. People who feel restless without stimulation, who thrive in crowds, and who seem to recharge simply by being around others. But here's the truth Jung emphasized. Very few people live at either extreme. Most of us exist somewhere along the line, shifting and adapting depending on the day, the environment, or even our mood. That's why personality tests that pin you down as just I or E can feel a little off. Maybe you love deep one-on-one conversations, but hate small talk. Maybe you enjoy hosting parties, but feel drained for days afterward. Maybe you've always been quiet at work, but light up on stage when performing. That contradiction isn't confusion. It's complexity. It's being human. Jung believed the human psyche is constantly oscillating between these two modes, inward and outward. In one stage of life, we may lean heavily toward introspection. In another, we might crave connection and interaction. Even hour to hour, we shift, we bend. And when we force ourselves to be one or the other, to fit a neat identity, we often suppress a vital part of who we are. Instead of boxing ourselves in, Jung invites us to become aware of the push and pull within us. The balance between engagement and withdrawal, expression and reflection. Because in that awareness lies the beginning of real psychological growth. In the next section, we'll explore a term that perfectly captures this in-between state. A word for those of us who don't quite fit the classic mold of introvert or extrovert, the ambivert. If you've ever felt like you don't fully fit into either camp, not quite the social butterfly, but also not the solitary thinker, you're not alone, and you're not confused. You might just be what psychologists today call an ambivert. Ambiverts are people who have a natural balance of introverted and extroverted traits. They can enjoy a lively dinner party and also relish a quiet afternoon alone. They can carry deep, thoughtful conversations or joke around in a lighthearted group. What makes ambiverts unique is their ability to shift gears. In one context, they might lead the room. In another, they might prefer to observe, and both feel natural to them. This isn't about being 50-50 all the time. It's about being adaptable, listening to what the moment needs and responding accordingly. Studies have shown that ambiverts often outperform both introverts and extroverts in careers like leadership, sales, counseling, and teaching. Why? Because they know when to speak and when to listen. They can tune into others' energy and adjust their approach. They're not trapped in one mode of interaction. And while the world often tries to divide us, are you this or that? Ambiverts live in the middle. They are the living proof that personality is not binary. Think about your own life. Do you sometimes look forward to social events, but find yourself needing space the next day? Do you feel energized by conversation, but overwhelmed when it lasts too long? Do you love both meaningful connection and meaningful solitude? If so, congratulations. You're not indecisive. You're not inconsistent. You're an ambivert. And that's not a compromise, it's a strength. Carl Jung might not have used the term ambivert himself, but his theory laid the groundwork for it. He understood that personality is a dance between internal and external energies. And ambiverts? They dance right at the center. In the next section, we'll explore what shapes these tendencies and how your environment plays a powerful role in who you become. So, what determines whether we lean more introverted or extroverted? Is it something we're born with, or something the world shapes within us over time? According to Carl Jung, the answer is both. Jung believed that while we may each have an inborn psychological orientation, our environment plays a crucial role in how that orientation unfolds. Imagine two children. One is naturally quiet, sensitive, thoughtful. The other is expressive, energetic, talkative. Now imagine that the quiet child grows up in a household that encourages speaking up, participating in group activities, and being more outwardly social. Over time, they may develop strong interpersonal skills, even confidence in public speaking, yet still value time alone. Meanwhile, the more extroverted child grows up in a home that values quiet, deep thought, and restraint. They might learn to listen more, to reflect, to think before acting, without losing their social spark. What we see here is adaptation, the shaping of natural traits by life experience. Culture plays a part too. In Western societies, extroversion is often celebrated. Schools reward participation, workplaces praise networking and assertiveness. In contrast, many Eastern cultures place higher value on introspection, humility, and silence. These cultural norms don't just affect how we behave, they affect how we see ourselves. You may have been conditioned to believe that your value depends on how loud, visible, or outgoing you are, or the opposite, that you must be reserved and humble to be accepted. But here's what Jung reminds us. You are not only a product of your biology, you are also a product of your story, your home, your teachers, your peers, your failures, and your triumphs. And most importantly, you have the ability to grow beyond what either nature or nurture tried to define for you. Because even in adulthood, personality is not a finished project. It's an evolving process, shaped by trauma, love, culture, and choice. In the next section, we'll go deeper into this idea and look at what Jung considered the highest goal of psychological growth, not choosing sides, but integrating both. Let's take a moment to address some of the most common myths about introverts and extroverts. The kind of assumptions we hear so often, we start to believe they're facts. Myth number 1, introverts are shy. Truth? Shyness and introversion are not the same thing. Shyness is about fear of judgment, of rejection, of social interaction. Introversion is about preference, a natural inclination to recharge through solitude and to seek depth over breadth. You can be a confident introvert. You can love public speaking, lead a team, or perform on stage, and still feel most alive when you're alone with your thoughts. Likewise, an extrovert might feel totally at ease in a group setting, but still experience social anxiety in certain situations. So next time someone says, "I'm shy because I'm an introvert," remember, that's not always true. Myth number 2, extroverts are always happy and outgoing. This is one of the most dangerous assumptions. Extroverts often carry the emotional weight of being the fun one, the loud one, the entertainer. But the truth is, extroverts struggle too. They can feel lonely, burned out, or disconnected, especially when they rely too heavily on external validation. Just because someone is energetic on the outside doesn't mean they aren't struggling internally. Emotions, joy, sadness, anxiety, passion, are human, not type-specific. Myth number 3, your personality can't change. This one may be the most limiting of all. Many people believe that once you're typed, that's it. I'm an introvert, I could never lead. I'm an extrovert, I'll never enjoy solitude. But Jung's theory suggests something entirely different. He believed in growth through integration, the process of developing the opposite side of yourself. An introvert can become an amazing public speaker. An extrovert can learn to meditate, reflect, and slow down. Your core tendencies may remain, but your skills, your responses, your comfort zones, they can evolve. And when we let go of the myths, the boxes, the stereotypes, we make room for a far richer, more flexible identity. So instead of asking, "What am I?" ask, "What am I becoming?" Because personality isn't a fixed definition. It's a journey, and you're allowed to change. If Carl Jung taught us anything, it's this. The goal of personal development isn't to be more introverted or more extroverted. The goal is integration. Integration means learning to bring together all aspects of who you are, the thinker and the doer, the quiet observer and the expressive speaker. It means no longer rejecting parts of yourself just because they don't fit the label you've been given. Think about it. Maybe you were told as a child that you were too loud, too quiet, too sensitive, too intense. Maybe you've grown up believing you need to stay in your lane. But personality isn't a single road. It's a web of paths, and Jung believed the healthiest, most whole people are those who walk all of them. Integration is about balance. It's about knowing when to step back and reflect, and when to step forward and engage, when to listen, when to speak, when to rest, when to act. Jung called this process individuation, The journey of becoming a full, authentic self. Not a copy, not a stereotype, but you, complete, layered, real. This doesn't mean forcing yourself to be someone you're not. It means becoming aware of the patterns that shape you and choosing how to respond to them. It means recognizing the introvert in you that needs solitude and honoring it, but also acknowledging the extrovert in you that longs to connect and giving it space too. You don't have to choose one. You just have to listen to what your energy is telling you, moment by moment. Because integration isn't a destination, it's a rhythm, a flow, a lifelong dance between two powerful forces inside you. And when you learn to move with both, instead of against them, that's when your personality becomes not just a reflection, but a tool, a compass, and a path toward who you were always meant to be. So let's return to the question we began with. Are you really an introvert, an extrovert, or something in between? Maybe for years you've seen yourself a certain way. Maybe someone told you who you were. You're too quiet. You never stop talking. You're so sensitive. You're too much. And so, you chose a label. You wore it like armor, or maybe like a mask. But now, maybe that label feels a little too small. That's not weakness. That's growth. Carl Jung didn't believe in reducing people to single traits. He believed in the richness of the psyche, in the complexity of who we are and who we're becoming. The truth is, you are not one thing. You are a spectrum, a pattern, a rhythm. You might recharge alone but thrive in groups. You might crave connection and also long for silence. You might be loud in laughter and quiet in pain. All of this is you. Your personality is not a prison, it's a map. A guide to what gives you energy, what drains you, what excites you, and what helps you grow. The more you understand it, the more intentional your life can become. So instead of asking, am I an introvert or extrovert? Ask, what brings me back to myself? What moments feel like home? How do I move through the world in a way that honors my truth? That's the real work. Not picking sides, but finding your balance. And when you do, you won't need the label anymore. You'll just be you, fully, consciously, beautifully. If this video helped you see yourself more clearly, leave a comment below. Are you an introvert, an extrovert, or something in between? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs it. And most importantly, keep learning who you are, because self-awareness isn't the end of the journey, it's the beginning.